What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics. And today I got a reaction to 10 overlooked albums released in 2023, brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter and patron channel, Slade Said. Appreciate Slade Said. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you like sports anyway, check out that Patreon link below, the Patreon link on the screen. We seriously could not do it without them. Slade Said knows a ton about music. I never doubt that, like a ton about all kinds of music. I looked over this list. I only knew 2 artists. But Slade Said is able to just pull these artists out. It's crazy. Slade Said for January of 2024, when I'm doing this list for, I decided to make a list of 10 albums that I personally believe were sadly overlooked by the general public and media, even some of the more reliable ones. So it's not, pay attention, it's not my top 10 of 2023 per se, but some of the albums would absolutely be included in such a list, and the higher ranked ones would even be contenders for Album of the Year to me. So these are not random selections of underground music albums. No, these are Slade Said's picks. So if you haven't ever been with us before, the music will not be in the video, but it'll be a Vimeo link below. And I'm going to guess you probably haven't heard these songs. So I'd suggest you click right there and follow along with us. Let's jump into it. At number 10, we got Black Belt Eagle Scout. The album, The Land, the Water, and the Sky. The track we're going to listen to is My Blood Runs Through the Land. But remember, these are album lists. Slade Said Black Belt Eagle Scout is the artist or name that, I'm going to butcher some of this stuff today, I'm telling you. Swinomish Inapak, I know I butchered that, singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist Catherine Paul uses. Catherine Paul, based in Portland, Oregon, released her first EP in 2014 and has since then released 3 LPs, with this one being the latest. Catherine Paul's music has been described as a mixture of Mazzy Star and Nirvana. That's quite a mixture, with a dose of traditional music added based on her indigenous roots, and that's probably not far off. So I said, this was a late year discovery for me. So given time, I'd probably rate it even higher than I do at this time. It's a very good album. We're going with that album opener. I'm going to have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Slade Said. All right, Black Belt Eagle Scout. Now, she plays every instrument on here as well, except for the bass. She plays everything else. Drums, percussion, guitar, which, the song is about the land and how she feels, at one with the land. But this is pretty much, for me, like Slow Dive mixed with My Bloody Valentine, right? Those guitar riffs were so heavy. She was mixed way in the background, probably 30% is probably where she was at in the background. So if you didn't have the lyrics up, I'm not sure you could follow, but it's just a vibe, right? It's the sort of thing that washes over you. And the longer it goes, kind of the more you feel it. So thought that was a really good track. Next thing, at number 9, we got SBT, but you're going to see it below. Sarah Beth Tusek. That's how you're going to find her on Spotify, but it goes by SBT. The album Joan of All, we're going to listen to the song The Gift. Slade Said from one female singer-songwriter to another, Sarah Beth Tusek, as of 2023, using the artist name SBT, is a Los Angeles-based singer-songwriter who released her first full solo album back in 2006. Her follow-up album, Get Well Soon, was released in 2011. The title track was used in an episode of the HBO TV series Girls, which ran for 6 seasons between 2012 and 2017. We then had to wait 12 years for her third album. This album is a double album, so at least we got a lot of music after waiting so long. She is more based in the acoustic singer-songwriter tradition than Black Belt Scout, our first artist on the list, with her main influences said to be Bob Dylan, Cat Stevens, and Neil Young. It's pretty good influences, right? For this list, I went with The Gift, the lead single of the album, which is a little bit more energetic and up-tempo than most of the album. Great production there with the waves at the end, right? Because that's what this song is talking about. It's using something that happened to somebody that she's talking to, right? And it's using the motif of the shore and the waves. You stand on cold feet out on the North Beach. We see the land give into the sea. And when it comes to you, the whip and the lash and the waves collide into you and everything gets washed into the past. It takes what you never made. It steals what you should have gave away. So she uses it at the very end. So that's pretty cool with the waves. And I like your voice. I like the guitar work on here. It's fantastic. I don't know who was playing the guitar because there's no artist credits or musician credits on it, but a good pick. SBT, number 9, overlooked album for Slade Said in 2023. Next up at number 8, we got Jeffrey Martin, his album Thank God We Left the Garden. The song There Is a Treasure, Slade Said. For our third pick on the list, we continue with the singer-songwriter focus. Portland, Oregon-based Americana singer-songwriter Jeffrey Martin has been releasing music since 2009, with this one being his latest, his 4th album. The album is very naked, as it mostly just features Jeffrey Martin and his acoustic guitar. It's a wonderful listen. There Is a Treasure, a fantastic song, so well written. I think he's talking about heaven. I mean, thank God we left the Garden of Eden, I think is what he's talking about. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, that's the album name. But I think that's what he's talking about. But he's talking about all the different things that go on, right? He's just painting a picture of what goes on in life. Like if you were just a bystander and just watching things go on. And then, of course, and the sun will rise like it always does on the day that I die. And the world will spin, the sun will go on burning, never even knowing I was alive. You know, they say that you will be forgotten within 3 generations max that you were ever even here. So it's an interesting like song to write, because he's right. There's a treasure that we all know, but we can't have it. It's a place beyond the measure of our minds. It's where we go when we forget we're living. It's where we go when we forget we die. I think he's talking about heaven. He might be talking about something else. I like verse 4, the last verse. And all the tools we use to feel important, they're useless as a sailboat in the sky, where old bones and heartaches are forgotten. It's a place we don't have words to describe. So I like that. The tools we all use to feel important, they're as useless as a sailboat in the sky. Look, man, this life is very fragile. The older I get, the more I realize that. Not that I didn't realize that, but as people who I know and people who are close to the people I know, as they lose them or they get horrible diagnoses, you realize, man, like I realized this a long time ago, don't chase fame and fortune and money and all of that good stuff, man. You got to have enough to survive, but like none of that stuff matters, man. None of that stuff matters. I never heard a dying man on his deathbed say, man, I wished I would have worked harder. Those words just don't happen, man. I wished I would have spent more time with so-and-so. I wished I would have done more of this, right? So I think this is a great song and a reminder of that. All right, that was heavy, man. Let's go on. Number 7, we got Elliot Green, the album Everything I Lack. We're going to listen to the song Friendly Advice. Next up, Slade said, we have another female singer-songwriter. I wouldn't have thought that with the name Elliot, right? I mean, I knew it because I looked at the research. But Elliot Green delivers wonderful, somber ballads with acoustic guitars, some synth and or piano, with her sleepy, almost whispering voice on top. Her only statement on her Bandcamp page is, I write sad songs. And I guess that sums it up. It's a beautiful listen, though. This is a piano-based ballad. Well, Elliot's description on Bandcamp that Slade said shared is exactly right. She sings sad songs, right? It's a sad, somber song, and it's really a devastating song. And I think it's perfect the way it's arranged, right, with just the piano and even the pause in the piano at times. Like it's very, very dialed back because the lyrics are just so good. She's asleep on this person's floor. She doesn't want to go home. She wants to stay, so she feels like she's part of something. All the time, I can't make up my mind if I'm lying to us both when I tell you I'm fine. So I thought that was really good. And in verse 2, she basically says, I'll be gone in the morning, and as if I weren't there. You can wash me away like the smoke from your hair when it circles down the drain. I'll do the same and be nothing. And then we get to the song title in the last verse, because there's 3 verses. Could you give me some friendly advice? How to live when it feels like I'm dying, when everything I thought that I had is gone. Living for somebody else for so long that even I believed it, but God, was I wrong? Gripping my throat while I'm grasping at straws, trying to find reasons it took me so long to mean something. Just a devastating verse. Now, I think she's just staying over with a friend, with a guy, whatever. But this could be the guy that hurt her, right? And she can't get away from him. She'd rather be around him and be in pain than not be around him at all. So I think that's a possible way to look at this song too, but so well done. Next up at number 6, we have Upper Wilds from the album. We got the album Jupiter. The song we're listening to is Short Centuries. Okay, Slade said, okay, we've had 2 very somber and slow songs in a row now, so I think it's time to pick up the pace before we all fall asleep. I'm not going to fall asleep, but those songs are heavy, man. Luckily, our next pick is ready to do that. The band Upper Wilds reminds me a bit of the band Clutch, but really they sound like no one else and yet seem oddly familiar. The band, a trio from Brooklyn, New York, has released 4 albums since 2017, and apart from the debut album, all the albums are named after planets within our solar system, with the most recent being this one, Jupiter. The band's main songwriter and founder is Dan Friel, who also sings and plays the guitars. Bass player is Jason Bennick, and drummer is Jeff Ottenbacher, new in the band as of this album. This was also a late entry for me, but I really like this album, which even includes a very good cover of Husker Du's Books About UFOs. Upper Wild, Short Centuries. That song was just a vibe, right? It definitely sounds unique, right? The arrangement, the instrumentation on it just sounds unique. So I was really vibing with it, man. I think the chorus really, really hung with me, but I like this sound. It does have me curious to listen to this album. I'm not saying I won't listen to some of the other albums, but it definitely has me curious to listen to this album. All right, we're in the top half of the list at number 5. We got Arabrot. I just watched an interview with him, so hopefully I pronounced that right. The album Of Darkness and Light. The song we're going to have is We Want Blood. So like I said, for the first time on this list, I venture outside of the USA to find our next pick. The band Arabrot comes originally from Norway, but are today residing in Sweden. They play energetic noise rock and cite their influences such varied artists as Death in June, Melvins, Lee Hazelwood, The Birthday Party, and Swans. The band's MVP, I'm going to mess this up, Jetel Nemes, who along with his wife Karen Park, I can say that, has been the core of the band for the last 10 years. He is the vocalist, composer, lyricist, and guitarist, while she plays synths and does backup vocals. This album is the band's 10th studio release, and it's a wonder they've been kept a secret to the public ear so long. It deserves a much wider audience, as evidenced by this thrilling song. We Want Blood. I feel like I don't have to say that because he repeated it so much. It just became this mantra, right? You saw me singing it as he was doing it. It's just infectious, right? And the guitar work on here was top notch as well. I mean, the drumming on there was fine too, especially towards the end, but guitar work and then just the mantra, right? The chant. It was a chant, man. We want blood. And the way the musicianship and the instrumentation arrangement changed up there. We want blood. It just sticks in your head, man. Really, really well done. We got 4 albums left. We got Dead Bob. From the album Life Like, we got the title track. For our number 4 spot, I went with the band Dead Bob from Victoria, Canada. Slade said, Dead Bob is the new band by former No Means No drummer John Wright, and the band name itself is based on a song of the same name by his former band. Now, I say band, and that will be true today since there are official band members in Dead Bob today outside of John Wright. But when this was recorded and released, the only band member was officially John Wright with various guest musicians. Dead Bob released their debut album in 2023 and contained a number of unreleased No Means No songs, reworked by the band, obviously, plus some new songs written for the project. It's very difficult to pigeonhole it to a certain style, as all songs pretty much belong in their own category. But the overall theme that combines them musically is mainly founded in punk rock, but ventures everywhere from there, as you would expect from John Wright, or No Means No. For this list, I went with the title song, which originally was a No Means No song. It was actually recorded by the band and used as a bonus track on one of their albums. So the song was known by the No Means No fans already. But the version by Dead Bob is very different and more commercially sounding, which actually benefits the song. All right, Life Like, very interesting song. Just keeps repeating that mantra, life like, right? So it just sticks in your head. Good guitar work, good instrumentation, but life like, and there's all these things that happen in life, right? Standing here and ending there, masterminds in time and space, a smile upon my face, and then crawling up out of the slime, standing in the checkout line, eyeing all the pretty girls, dreaming of another world, and talking about these different things. A million souls await the call to rise and sing. They stand and fall in the clouds. The angels count the myriad things. And then talking about I can't hear God when I walk upon the busy streets, and all of these things. Although there's nothing left to seek, the streaks of tears upon my cheeks are life like. Just all these different things. So that life like mantra just keeps repeating there. Very, very good. And you see it below because it already rolled on me. The number 3 album, overlooked album for Slade Said in 2023. We got Paul B. Cutler and the album Les Fleurs. Song selection, we're going with Chains, the song. Slade said when Paul B. Cutler released his album Les Fleurs, flowers in French for those not knowing, I was totally surprised. Paul B. Cutler had not been making music since 1988 when he was last heard as the lead guitarist of the Dream Syndicate. Before that, he had been the band leader of the death rock band 45 Grave. When the Dream Syndicate reunited in 2017, they asked Paul if he wanted to come back, and he declined. I do remember that. I do remember that from a previous write-up. And Slade said after that, he figured he was done with making music, but I guess not, since here we are with a brand new album. Well, brand new by late April 2023 anyway. And what an interesting and good album it is. He is mainly a guitar player, and singing is not something he tends to love. So for the album, he chose to whisper through most of the verse lines, followed by more ordinary singing through the choruses. It sounds weird on paper, but it actually works. And when you listen to the whole album, you tend to forget that it's a thing. I included a song, Grinning Reaper, from the album on a previous list where I picked 10 very obscure artists that I felt deserved more exposure. And that is absolutely still the case. I do remember that, and I remember that I liked the way he did things.
Society's an inferno of saviors.
Saved it there. I paused it for a second. I'm like, I bet he might have something to say, and there's only 4 seconds left, and he did. So, and just this unique vocal delivery, right? I have really no idea what he was saying. I could not find lyrics for this song, but he was just following orders. You get the idea of it with the gunfire and everything else. But great guitar work in there, as you would expect. But just a unique way of doing things, and it does draw you in because it is unique. Sometimes unique's not great, right? Don't be unique just to be unique. have a purpose for it, have it work. But this does work. Number 2 on the list, we got Oxbow and their album Love's Holiday. We're going to listen to the song 1,000 Hours. Slade said, Oxbow is a band that I've really learned to love within the last 6 years or so. I first heard about them when they released the album Thin Black Duke in 2017, but they've been releasing music since 1989, so I was very late to the party. The band can be categorized as art rock, noise rock, avant-garde rock, or experimental rock. Pick whatever. What they are not is ordinary or mainstream, and that to me is, of course, a good thing, although record companies probably prefer mainstream to all the other. They definitely do, and I mean, Oxbow's bank account might prefer that too. The band consists of 4 very talented artists who do plenty of art-based work outside of the band. Within the band, Nico Winter and Eugene S. Robinson are probably the band's most important members, as Nico is the composer, arranger, and producer of the band, while Eugene is the frontman, singer, and lyricist of the band. The rest of the band consists of drummer percussionist Greg Davis and bassist Dan Adams. The latter, also a multi-instrumentalist who, outside of playing bass in Oxbow, is actually an award-winning jazz drummer, amongst other things, which, we all know jazz is the thing for musicians. So clearly, Oxbow is a band with many talents. They do not exactly release albums every year. In fact, not only did it take 6 years for 2023's Love Holiday to come out, but before that, they'd spent 10 years between the previous studio releases. It's always worth waiting for the albums, however, since they have a unique style that really no one else can match. This was a single, 1,000 Hours. I did not expect sort of that vocal performance with those little like harmonies over the top, with the way it started out, like instrumentally, right? It's just a great little interplay. And the song itself is heavy. He wants to die, and he basically says he's going to kill himself, but if he doesn't, then it just basically makes him a bigger loser. I'm summing it all up, but yeah, I mean, it just basically says everything goes wrong in his life, but just unfolds it nice and slowly through the song, like in just a really, really good way. So I thought that was excellent. And now we're to the number 1 most overlooked album of 2023, according to Slade said. We got Squirrel Flower. The album's Tomorrow's Fire, and we're going to listen to the song Finally Rain. We began with a female singer-songwriter, Slade said, and we finished with one as well. Squirrel Flower is a stage name for Ella O'Connor Williams, who originates from Boston, Massachusetts. She's released 4 studio albums to date, the first one being from 2018, so she's pretty prolific, right? I first became aware of her when she released her 3rd album, Planet I, in 2021, and I absolutely love that album. I was naturally very keen to listen to her new album when I heard that she was releasing a new one in October of this year, and I was not disappointed. This is a great album, period. Squirrel Flower's style is a mix between Marissa Nadler, Emma Ruth Randall, and Chelsea Wolfe, but generally not quite as soft as Marissa Nadler, and not as industrial or doom metal as Chelsea Wolfe. Along with Oxbow's Love Holiday, this album is a serious contender of Album of the Year to me, with Swan's The Beggar in the mix as well. There are many songs that I could choose from this excellent album. I really wanted to go with the song Full-Time Job, but it's less than 2 minutes long, and that just won't do it for our number 1 spot. So I went with the album Closer instead, Finally Rain. However, after listening to that from Slade Said, knowing that Slade Said wanted Full-Time Job, I'm going to play them both. I'm going to play Finally Rain, and I'm just going to go right in to Full-Time Job. It's the number 1 album. We can do that. We can have a top 10 plus 1, right? All right, definitely a worthy number 1. Squirrel Flower from the album Tomorrow's Fire. We got Finally Rain first. That's the one we did first. Song was fantastic. Just the arrangement on it. She sounded great, but I loved the production, the arrangement, the way we went fast, slow, the guitar work, all of it. And she doesn't want to give up her childhood. I don't know if she's reliving her childhood, and so she doesn't want to grow up, or some secrets down the city, drain, or some bad stuff happened. But we won't grow up. But what she did in this song, and what it made stick in your head, it's a very cool writing technique. She repeated almost everything, not everything, but the important stuff 3 times in one form or fashion. Whether there's 3 lines in a row or just 3 words in a row, right? Or 3 word phrases, my love, my love, my love. I won't grow up, right? I know if this is what it means to be alive, she repeated that 3 times, and it just sticks in your head. It's so pleasant. And then the bonus track, Full-Time Job, was just like, it was a musical, like hurricane, right? It just sounded fantastic. She's taking it easy as a full-time job, one I'm tired of, doing my best as a full-time job, but it doesn't pay the rent. Never wanted to be someone's wife, give up my whole life. So I have to be brave in the crowd, but I'm on my knees now. Yes, I'm on my knees now. So she kind of repeats it here too. This is just a fantastic choice. And Trey and I are going to put up our top 10 2023 albums very soon. Last year we did a series where we did all of them from 65 through 2022. But guess what? Trey doesn't live here anymore, so we haven't filmed this yet, even though it's almost the end at the time I'm filming this of 2023. So I'm going to listen to this album because I've already got 2 tracks down. Maybe it'll make an appearance on my list somewhere. Who knows? So now we're going to get to my favorites. And I say this all the time when I do album countdowns, right? Because this is weird because I don't listen to the album. Slade said it. So trust what Slade said, and not me. But I just got to go with the songs and what I heard. So honorable mentions, SBT with the album Joan of All and the song The Gift is an honorable mention. So is Paul B. Cutler. Chains off the LaFleur album. And then the faves, I got to be Jeffrey Martin from the album Thank God We Left the Garden. The song is There Is a Treasure. I thought that was fantastic. Elliot Green album Everything I Lack, song Friendly Advice. And then the last 2, Oxbow, the album's Love's Holiday, the song is 1,000 Hours. And then Squirrel Flower, probably the best song on here. Tomorrow's Fire with Finally Rain, and what a bonus full-time job. So I know it's a lot of stuff, but go check these out. If you have a streaming service, it's not going to cost you anything, or go to YouTube and listen to them for free if they're on there. But let me know your most overlooked albums of 2023 and what were your favorites on this list. Thank you to Slade Said, as always. Until next time, guys, I will see you.